I said, like, because we were able to come back from this like major disagreement, it showed me that like whatever I go through, like he will be there, you know, like as much as we had this like fight, and it was really, really awful. Like I was so hurt from it. And I was so hurt from some of the things that were said also. But despite all of that, like he's still very much present. He's still here. You know, it took time, but he needed, like he's still willing to talk to me, listen to me, understand me. And I feel like that showed me some light, like it gave me some hope, like, okay, there is hope in this.
Because I received a happy birthday message from a colleague.
Okay.
And the colleague said, I'm very glad that you are now working with Munah and Hirzi because they play a huge part in my youth. And I also play a huge part in a different part of her life. I think yours is you first is the teenage years with real talk and everything. And it's very glad that we are coming together because it's like the two of their, you know? Yeah.
Oh my hand.
Yeah. And she's...
Hey, don't cry.
No, I'm not crying. She's not a conservative, so she's a liberal. And I feel that's that. It's the... I don't want to say you guys represent the liberals. Or there was a segment of Malay Muslim people who had similar living situations as you guys, similar beliefs as you guys.
Yeah.
And at that point of time, there was no one representing them. I'm not saying that it needs representation, but it's a bit like, you know, when you feel like you're by
your tribe.
When you feel like by yourself and then you see something like, I am not alone. And that was you guys, right? And talking about this liberalism, you guys were the first Malay Muslim ambassadors for Pink Dot. So we heard Hirzi's side of that story, but I never heard your side of the story. Even as friends, you never told me your side of the story.
That's it?
Yeah. You never told me. Then again, Hirzi is very emotional, so he likes to say.
Well, today's your lucky day.
And it's taped. Yeah.
Tape, okay.
Yeah, so just a reminder or a refresher for everyone who's listening. Munah and Hirzi was the first Malay Muslim ambassadors for Pink Dot. And for lack of a better word, that's very liberal, right? Because of course, it's a sin to be gay in Islam. Yeah, so we've heard the story from Hirzi, but I haven't heard it from you. And if let's say I was a fly on the wall in your life at that point of time, what would I have seen?
You have seen a lot of things. That was what I felt not necessary to talk about or share at that point of time, because it wasn't the fight that we were focusing on. But yeah, naturally, we knew going into it that we would get some sort of like a pushback from the conservative community. But I think by that point of time, we also like had so many others, right? So we were like, okay, this one confirmed, people are not happy. But why we wanted to do it was because of like that YouTube FanFest moment also, where we felt like it was important for us to stand up for these people that we meet, you know, that look to us. And it was a message that resonated a lot with me, obviously. So when they approached us to be ambassadors, I didn't even think twice. I was like, yes, of course. Like we actually thought we were just going to like be part of it in other ways. We just said like, we wanted to be part of Pink Dot, that's it. But we didn't realize like, okay, they would offer us to be ambassadors. And we were like, okay, let's go. You know, like this is definitely a great platform for us to stand up for what we believe in. But I think what I didn't realize was how it would affect my family. Because at that point of time, like I was already in this industry for a while, okay? I was still new, but I kind of saw myself like, okay, I'm going further into this. And of course, like, when I first started, my dad was very against it and he was like, where is this going? Whatever. But, I felt like I was at a good space in it, like got my groove going. So I didn't even think of consulting him at that point of time. I was like, this is like my life now. This is my career. Just do lah. Like whatever I feel like and whatever I believe in, I'll do it. So it was like a slap in the face for me when he like reacted so badly about it. And I was like, hey, why, huh?
Wait. So how did he find out? Through the TV
papers?
Show?
No, through the papers. Yeah. So to me, I was really like, I don't like looking back. I just didn't think that it was necessary for me to talk to him about it because it was just something I wanted to do, and I've always like made choices already the last few years. So never mind lah. But when he reacted so badly to it, I was just like, hold on. And like suddenly like I felt like I was like a child again. I was like, oh my goodness, like what is this? I'm like in my mid-20s already, like,
you were scared,
an adult. I was scared. I was like, wait, like this is not supposed to happen. Like, I'm so confused. So like I really didn't bother about the pushback from the community because I knew that was happening and they didn't matter to me, you know what I mean? But when my dad reacted, that's when like my whole world shifted and I was like, oh crap. Like, how do I deal with this? And of course, like my dad is a very like strict, staunch man. And he had his beliefs, like it's different from mine, but that's how he grew up and what he believed in. So navigating that was a struggle because it was hard for me to like talk to him or explain to him. Like, even when I explained to him, like he wouldn't hear it because to him it's like blasphemous. Like, how can you say, or how can you be part of this movement? Like it didn't make sense to him at all. So there was no way of getting through to him. I remember like I turned to my brother. Like we were at like Bedok Reservoir or something and I was talking to him and I was like, what should I do? Like I don't know how to handle this at all. And there were nights where, me and Hirzi would just be driving around. And of course, Hirzi also was going through it with his family, Like I think the both of us just didn't think about the family part of it. We were like, we just didn't realize. And of course, like the family part of it would affect us like so personally. But we didn't think there was a need to talk about this at that point of time because really then what does it solve, Like, and also like then I guess you would see, or the people we're trying to stand up for would see that like, oh, okay, there is this pushback, then how, like, what are you representing? So there was a lot of like that internal conflict in my head, like how do I manage, being part of Pink Dot and how do I manage my father at the same time? Sorry, and I was saying like there were a lot of nights where me and Hirzi would just be driving around aimlessly because we didn't want to go home. Like it was just like so awkward and such a struggle because like between me and my dad also like of course we had like a lot of like big disagreements and after that it was just very like what do I say to you, it was just very awkward at that point of time.
And how long did your dad take to get over it?
Quite long. I can't remember exactly, but long enough for me to feel the effects of it lah. Like, I don't think I kept count, but just for a period of time, it was very, very difficult to face him or like, even when I tried to like bridge the conversation or even when we tried to talk again, like it would always be like a clash of opinions and it wasn't going anywhere. It was awkward. And then finally, so my dad we have a weird way of the reconciliation between my dad and I is always like very like weird, but like, okay lah, we are okay now, we can talk. So of course he was angry for a period of time. And then finally, like I think when things kind of cooled down, we had a conversation and I feel like he understood where I was coming from. And to him, it was just about not consulting him. Like he felt a bit like disrespected or offended that he had to find it out, not from me, but from like the media itself. And he was like, I don't care about what other people are saying. I just care about like this relationship. Like we need to be able to talk, right? So I was like, okay. So it took a while for us to sort of come to terms with our differences. And I feel like we never had like that closing conversation, but it was like a gradual reconciliation of the relationship of like, okay, this is what you do. I understand what you do, but this is where I stand. And so I think we both are on either sides, but it's unconditional love. Like, you know, he understands me and I understand him. And now we're okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's fair.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like not consulting him. You know, some parents are like that. But I said the same thing to Katricia, right?
Yeah.
And what I said was, okay, you know, there are a lot of gay people in our community that who is also in the media, but they don't come out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And we both know the reason why they don't come out, right?
Yeah.
Mainly because it's against the religion. And once they come out, maybe like, you know, the whatever they're doing in the media, they might not be able to do it anymore because they won't get accepted by the community. Like, I mean, basically whatever you and Herzi went through. And the other side of the coin is, not say the other side, the other point is they don't come out, especially to their parents. And some people say like, you know, you should because you cannot live freely, this and that. And some people are like, you're being fake. You're blah, blah, blah,
you're not
blah.
living your true self.
And I support both sides. And let me tell you why. The reason the reason why they hide it and why they don't want to tell their parents is because they don't want their parents to feel that the parents failed as a parent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can respect that. Like, for as long as I've eaten pork and I've stopped, let me clear this up. I've stopped eating pork.
Masih lah.
Yeah. But I never told my parents.
Yes,
I never told my parents, not because I don't want them to feel like they failed. But now that I'm older, I feel like, I made a right choice. Because and I said I ate pork because I was poor. And if let's say I tell my dad like, hey, I ate pork because you don't give me money. But it's not his fault. It's not his fault. Like, he was giving me the best he could at that time. Well, at least from my understanding lah, right? And we were still poor. And I made the decision and it was my decision. And that's why people don't come out. Yeah. And the other side that I also support, where I think they should come out, is because I've seen or I have heard people who are gay and is in the media, and when like other people in the industry come out, they will say things about these people. They were like, no, you shouldn't do that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like imagine now another gay Malay person is talking about Herzi.
Yeah.
That to me is unfair.
Yes, it's like a hypocrisy.
Yeah. It's like, okay, like, you know, you do you. Like, you do you. You don't want to come out, sure. But you don't know what this guy is going through.
Correct,
Yeah. And coming out, and I understand where people want to come out of the closet. Because they just cannot lie anymore. Lor.
Yeah.
Like, it is very tough for them to not live freely. Yeah. And they also have their own journey to go through. They also have to question like, oh my God, is this right? Is this wrong?
Correct.
If I'm a creation of God, why did God create me this way? So that's why I support both sides. Lor. So I support the ones that don't want to come out because they want to respect their parents. I support that. But don't say things when these people come out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
And
because it's all about the timing of the person itself, like the circumstances of your life, you know, like whether you feel ready, whether you feel like constrained by that. Like there's no point in putting judgment in someone else's journey, whether to rush them or whether to judge them for coming out, you know.
Yeah.
I completely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. And with this whole parents thing also, like, this happened quite recently actually. I went to a birthday party. And then my dad said to me, did I tell you this?
See?
So he said, your podcasts are very controversial.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, yeah, why? Then he said, oh, my friends tell me you said something about Hari Raya, but I told them not to listen to you. So I honestly thought about it. Right, okay, oh wow. Maybe I never, to me, they will never come across the channel. And we are 85 episodes in, or maybe more if you include Real Talk. I've said so much shit. Like my entire life is online, right? And I don't know which episode they watch. And that's why I say I feel these people now. Because now I feel like I've done, and I know my dad, like, he will only say that if it really affected him.
Yeah. I see.
So I'm like, okay, oh my God, me sharing my life online has embarrassed my parents.
Do you feel guilty? Do you feel like you shouldn't have done that or what?
No, because it is my experience. I have the rights to share my experience, right?
Yeah.
But I think it was at their expense, in which I did not see. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
The person I am today, the older generation, or maybe even in any generation would say, your parents raised you wrong. Immediately, my parents are involved. So now I see, so that's why I said, now I respect this side.
Yeah.
Because now I feel like I've embarrassed my parents.
Yeah.
Because their friends is sending clips of me. Their friends is sending clips of me interviewing a transgender. Like maybe it's like you and your dad where I'm okay with it. Like I feel like their story deserves to be told.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because they are Muslims, they're not okay with it.
Yeah.
My auntie came up to me and said, oh, I heard your comedy set.
Yeah.
And I knew what the fuck I said in my comedy set. So I'm like, fuck. Now it implicates my parents' siblings. So then their siblings would think, my dad did a bad job. You know, so then I see like, I mean, even though me and my dad are not close, I get it now.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I'm going to control myself now. It's too late. Like I feel like my entire life is online now. But now I understand it.
But that's exactly the predicament I was in, you know, like to make that decision, be empowered to want to do something. And it is my life. It is my right to, you know, stand up for what I believe in. But at the same time, like I forget there's like also my parents. And I guess personally for me, like my parents are very important to me also. Like they're a big part of my life. So I think the fact that he was affected really affected me because I'm like, I'm gonna lose this relationship, you know, like it's a struggle, like it's a fight between like, I want to stand up for what's right, but at the same time, like I'm gonna lose this relationship. How do I find a middle ground for this? Or because like I can't make him understand, you know, he has his own opinion and he's not gonna change. But I also have my own opinion and I'm not gonna change. So it was quite a big clash. Is that how you're feeling right now? Like, do you feel
I mean,
like
mine is not as dramatic as yours.
Okay.
It's not, as in mine it's not not much of a big deal compared to you. I mean, yours was in the papers.
Yeah.
And you guys were the first.
Yeah.
Now anybody become an ambassador, you think people will give a fuck. People won't give a fuck because you guys already, like, we went through that wave already. What I wanted to ask is, what do you think God was trying to tell you at that point of time? Or rather, what was the lesson that God was trying to teach you?
I think, like looking back at it now, like I think God was just trying to maybe teach me a little bit more about like being able to see the bigger picture. Like at that point of time, I was only focused on like building and like focused on like the decisions that I want to make. But I think what I learned from that is that, and I thought like, you know, like I didn't have to involve my parents because, you know, he wasn't supportive of my career. But I think what I realized from that is that, you know, as sure there are some things that he disagreed with, like my dad, I mean, but there was some sort of access to him and some sort of like conversation that I could have with him, because like that was also quite a turning point, because I think that was the biggest fight that we've ever gotten into. But it also sort of brought us closer, because I think to come back together from that like major like crazy phase, it just showed that like, okay, I can depend on you you might need time to sort of understand me, what I do, what I stand for, but there's always hope. So I felt like, oh, I'm gonna cry. Do you prepare tissue?
No, it's outside. No, but after this segment, I'm gonna close.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we go to part 2.
Oh, got part 2.
Yeah.
Ya Allah. So, what was I saying?
It took you a while to get through this whole thing.
Oh,
Your
yes.
dad. No, but I think that's what. I think you said your lesson was to see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
My opinion is the bigger lesson here, God was trying to tell you was that family always comes first. No matter what, or whatever you do, whatever actions you take, your actions will implicate other people. And sadly, yours implicated the 2 most important human beings in your life.
Okay, that's fair. But I also believe that it showed me that, like I said, like because we were able to come back from this like major disagreement, it showed me that like whatever I go through, like he will be there, like as much as we had this like fight, and it was really, really awful. Like I was so hurt from it. And I was so hurt from some of the things that were said also. But despite all of that, like he's still very much present. He's still here. It took time, but he's still willing to talk to me, listen to me, understand me. And I feel like that showed me some light, like it gave me some hope, like, okay, there is hope in this relationship. Like that, like he will be here with me no matter what. I think that's what I saw. Yeah.
And it also sounded like if you were to tell him first, he would have helped you through that situation.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Is there tissue in this room? No?
You should have known that if you interview me, you will need tissues.
You know what? That's what I thought. When I was writing the questions, I'm like, where will Munah cry? Pink dot is most definitely. I thought you would cry at the split or the pink dot.
Oh, okay.
But later on in part 2, you're gonna cry more.
Irritating. We're still family, and honestly, like if I look at our relationship now, it has changed so vastly, and we're a lot closer, and we're able to talk about a lot of things.
Or maybe God was trying to teach you how to communicate also.
Yeah lah.
Expensive lesson though.
Yeah. But I feel comforted that like my dad's still very much present in my life. And like he's showing me support in like many different ways also, in his little ways. So yeah, I think it, as much as it was hard, it opened up something between us. And Pink Dot is still very important to me. I still stand up for it. So in a way, it's a good win.
Yeah. Pink Dot, if you want me to be the ambassador, let me know, man. Okay, I don't know why my parents' friends' children like to report things to their parents. And they like to report about me.
Yeah.
And like they send clips about just parenting and everything. And I don't know what broken telephone they are sending. But my mother, like the other day, texted me and said, "Why do you say you have a stepfather?"
Oh
so
my
I'm like,
God.
And she called me at the wrong time. I was editing, and like I was like, "What?" I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about, right?" No, and I saw the first message. I didn't reply yet, but she added on. She's like, "My friends tell me, how can you say this? That you have a stepfather when I was the one who delivered all 3 children." And I'm like, "Where the hell is this going?" So I'm like, "When the hell? Why would I lie about stepfather?"
So when did you say it?
I didn't.
Okay, but you know what? Okay, what do you think the lesson here is so far? Like, what is God trying to show you?
No, I think for the both of us is that we are representatives of our parents or our family.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
and whatever we do, really whatever, and this goes for everything, like even like the bigger issues like people go to jail.
That's true.
People get like criminalized. Whatever. It implicates your parents.
Is it our society thing, or is it like where does it stem from?
I mean, it's fair. I feel like it's a half fair judgment of, like
your upbringing, so called. Yeah.
Upbringing really, now that I'm older, I really feel upbringing really affects how you are today.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
And that's why I say it's fair. Like when people see and then people go like, you were raised wrongly. And when you are not raised, like for example, something happened to your parents a long time ago. And then they also will say, give him a chance.
Yeah.
He wasn't raised well.
Yeah.
Like this kind of thing. So, I think that's what God is trying to teach us. But it's a long journey lah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It really is. But at least now your parents are invested and viewing the show. So
you know what? Yes.
Views.
Or rather,
are they subscribed?
I'm happy. I'm happy that they now know what I do. I don't have to explain to them, they just watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, if I am not wrong, my younger stepbrother, that's what I said. No, I didn't say step, I said my half brother. My half.
Okay, so this episode is to clear up. Okay,
No,
your half brother.
My half brother, I think he watches also. And since he was young, he keeps wearing a YouTube shirt.
So
like
he wants to be a YouTuber.
Yeah, and I think because he watched me or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know how true is this. And now he goes to the same school as me.
Wow.
As in like last time.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know, you're not in school anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, let's close part 1. We've come to the end of part 1 of this episode of Munah. In part 2, we're going to talk more about her life in theatre. And her personal life in which some of you guys never heard before. And it has something to do with also her parents.
Oh.
Yes. So I'll see you guys in part 2.
See you. I also will see you guys.